Hello, welcome back to Bend It Live. This is a podcast about circuit bending. I'm your host, David Kabaya, also known as Baby Ginseng. I am not accompanied by Mr. Paul Giret, our resident technical wizard and digital artist. He is on his honeymoon, out somewhere deep in Mexico, possibly swimming in a cenote or eating cochinita de pibil. Love you, Paul. Really happy for you. And, well, let's get back to the show. I got a little wistful there. Okay. Bend It Live is a podcast about circuit bending. We're taking you through the entire journey of going to a thrift shop, picking up a children's toy, opening it, and modifying it to get interesting new sounds out of it. And then to make music, or as I like to say, music adjacent noise out of those sounds. So we are going to be a little bit light on the circuit bending because we're a little bit far along in the process. What I have done is I've bought a children's book that makes sounds, little sound effects as you read along with your child, and the sounds are insect sounds. And I have, in the other episodes of Bend It Live, I don't know, I think we're on 15 now, taking you guys through, the whole process. I've, modified it and broken out the noise-making part of the children's book and put it in a new enclosure. I've added a volume control to it and interesting knobs to interface with the mod, or bend as we call it, and a jack for capturing the sound into, your computer or whatever recording device that you're going to use. And then I loaded the samples onto my hardware groove box, the instrument that I wanted to work with. And our last episode, I loaded the samples into a digital audio workstation, or a program that allows you to make music. And I decided to basically, the reason for doing that was to just show everyone sort of two different ways to go about the samples, to go about making music from these samples. So I worked on my track just a little bit after I stopped the stream last time. I just did some tweaks here and there. I had some different versions. Why don't I just play the different ones just to show you guys? And yeah, well, let's just play them and then talk about them and where I want to go next. So Fart Box. It's called Fart Box. I guess the instrument is now officially called the Fart Box because the circuit bends that I found make farting noises. And so it's the Fart Box, and this project is the Fart Box. So here's the first incarnation. So I'm relatively happy with this because, you know, when I want to use these interesting sounds in the music, I don't just want to sprinkle them on top, you know. Ideally, I'd like to challenge myself by really incorporating the weirdness of the sound and showing it off, you know. And I talked about this last time, but one thing that you can help, that you can do to help assess that is, if you remove the interesting sound from the track, and, is it worse off, or is it better off? and that's kind of the difference between having an interesting sound and showing it off and really incorporating it and, writing the song around it, and sort of just having an existing song and just shoehorning in this weird sound, just being weird for the sake of being weird. And, sometimes that's not the worst thing in the world, but what I end up doing is if the sound doesn't belong, then it doesn't belong. Then I just take it out, and I have a regular song. Well, regular compared to the weirdness of the sound that I just took out. And that's not the worst thing in the world, The worst case scenario, sometimes your weird sound was a scaffolding to the less weird song that you wrote. And in this case, leave it to test. So if I take that out, I'm gonna take those weird sounds out. I actually kind of like it more without the circumvent sound. So I think this is a good example of what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence on this one. I think the sounds do contribute. I'm not really crazy about where it's going, though. One thing I don't like is that bass. When you have a bass like that, something like that that's echoing, it's basically like a slow, epic bass. It's not a fast moving sort of, how would I describe this? If this sound was short, if this sound was short, you could fit more notes into the melody of the bass line, and the bass line would be more hectic. It'd be more of a booty shaker, right? And so, with this sound, with this bass sound, I've added the delay. I've added this delay here in the mixer to the bass track. That's what you hear echoing. This effect does that. Let's see. That's what it sounds like without it. So let's add back the rest of the stuff. you also see why this sounds slower, because I'm just playing 4 notes every bar. That's called a quarter note, because it divides the bar into quarters. So, that's kind of one reason why I don't really like that track, because the bass is just too slow, and it's just too epic. I don't like where it's going, just personally. So then, okay, don't save changes. Here's Firefox version 2. So this track is faster, but the bass is also more what I described. So the sound of the bass is shorter. It's not long and echoey. It's short, so I could play a fast melody with a lot of notes. And you see the effect that it has here. It's more upbeat, it's more upbeat and driving. The other one was just kind of like, it's being soaked in. This one, it's moving. And that kind of was more true to my vision. So I like this incarnation of what I was doing more. And let's give it the test. The test means take out the weird sounds and see if they contribute or detract from the track. Detract from the track. So I guess it's hard to say, does it pass the test? It does. I mean, I think it fits together. And if I took the sounds out, the track could go in a totally different direction. But I'm happy with the way I incorporated that. Let's check out Firefox 3. Go with that one. It seems like an earlier version of Firefox 2, because I do remember, I think, saving over in a weird fashion. That was non-chronological. So yeah, this is basically just a slower and less developed Firefox 2. So I think Firefox 2 is my most promising track here. So that's the one I'm going to continue with. So this is kind of typically what happens when you're trying to write a song, you might have different ideas and they can branch off and you save them, and sometimes you're feeling it, sometimes you're not. And it's useful to sometimes sleep on it, because you can get tunnel vision while you're working on stuff, and your ideas just get crazier and crazier. And then you don't know what the hell's going on. So, $4 too. We'll just play it and think about where to go from there. I think a simple choice would be to you either add stuff or you take it away. I find it's kind of fun to just add stuff all crazy like and just get the thing fully stuffed, and then at the end you're just taking stuff away. I might have to undo this because of the snap. I could always snap to event. Okay. Snap to events. So what I'm trying to do is have these snap together in the right fashion so that it'll be continuous. And that's what this snap is useful for. I should have mentioned I'm working in FL Studio 10, I believe. 12. Whatever. I think they have 20 now anyway. So kind of fleshing out a song looks like this. Turning an idea into a song can look like just cloning this a bunch, so you have a long sort of. Let's see how long this is. 50 seconds. So yeah, basically one way to do it is to make basically like 3 or 4 minutes of this. Just keep on cloning it and filling it up, and then you start taking stuff away and start adding things. And then the other thing you do is, as you build it up, you're thinking about the structure of things. So kind of like a story, a movie, it's going to have like an exposition. So just like in a book or a movie, you're going to be introduced to the main characters. There's going to be the setting. The setting for a song could be kind of like, maybe the first notes that come in before the beat drops. And that's going to kind of, bring a vibe to you. Kind of like showing you the background in the movie, the establishing shot. Where is this? What's it kind of going to be about? And then you hear they start introducing the main characters. That's kind of like a theme or a melody or a riff, whatever you have in your song. And then they're going to establish the plot. The main character maybe goes on a quest or needs something or has some kind of struggle to deal with. And so that's when your track gets fleshed out. And then maybe there's a love story. I don't know. That could be like a second melody, like a melody B. And then there's this is a musical term, point and counterpoint. So let's say, kind of like the love story arc in a movie, you have person A and person B, they're falling in love. And similarly in a song, you might have two different themes that play off of each other. And in the end, there's a harmony. So, this is kind of something that I personally complain about at the movies, where they always have to put like some sort of romantic arc into the movie that's just, to me, is like superfluous, and it just kind of bloats things up and waters things down. Like, I think I was talking to someone about The Watchmen the other day, and I just thought, like, they really played up that romantic arc in the movie, and I thought it was a bit oppressive. It kind of took away from like the themes of justice and all that in the comic. Like, I feel like the romantic arc overshadows, you know, a lot of other elements in, big box movies. And I guess, holy shit, where was I going with this? I'm going way off tangent. um. So okay, yeah. Here's where I was going with this. So why do they do that so much? Well, it's kind of an easy way to establish the form of the movie, of the story, of the plot, of what they're trying to say. So there's an exposition and then some kind of struggle, and then there needs to be a harmony, a sort of unity. You need to come full circle at the end. I remember Dan Harmon talking about this in how he writes Rick and Morty. And I think this is my little crackpot theory that, it's easy to get that with a romantic arc, and that's why it happens to so many movies. So my point is that's important, and it's well, obviously there's so much different kind of music that this is not a hard and fast rule. There are guidelines that you follow, and sometimes you're just true to your own expression, and you don't need to follow those rules all the time. You bend them, because I personally believe when you sit down to create something, whatever comes out, it comes out, and I'd like to encourage it more than, like mold it like I'm a father or something, So I think of these elements, and I use them to try, to make my music better. But at the same time, I want to be true to my own expression. And if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. And I try to make it fit, but it doesn't fit. So that's what we have. A lot of times is what I end up with. So that's sort of what you do when you write a song. If you start out with a certain theme, you're going to return to that theme at the end. But maybe you're going to return to it stronger. So when I talk about the way I write songs, I'll have, this is my main base idea, and to flesh it out, you can do it slowly, and sometimes one approach that I just described was just building it up into one massive thing, and then you have your song fully fleshed out, and then that's kind of what you would have at the end, and then you're slowly building up to that, because that's, that ending is the grandest part of it, but it's also a return to the beginning. That was my romantic arc analogy. A different way of doing things, and often you'll use a combination of these, frameworks or techniques, but the other thing that is important is phrasing. So let's see, you can see the shading here in the DAW, the digital audio workstation, and there's dark and light gray. So these dark lines, okay, there's also lines, right? Dark lines and lighter lines. So between each dark line here would be a bar. Need to make sure. Let's zoom in. Okay, easiest way to tell is to look at a pattern in the sequence here. So see, this is the length of my pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once again, there are these subdivisions, so each bar is divided into 4 beats. And here you can see them. So the pattern is a 1 bar pattern here. So over here, like I said, between the 2 dark lines is 1 bar. Right. And now you can see my patterns are in 4 bars over here. So the reason why pattern 2 is down here is because it's a slight variation. So I've kept it down here to sort of remind myself or have a visual on the form of what's going on. And so I consider this when I'm writing my patterns. So I could write one in 5, but that sets the rhythm for everything that follows, because if I start in 5, then, you know, my idea, my phrases would have to be in multiples of 5. You know, I would do, 2 patterns would be 10, and then maybe 4 would be 20. So sometimes it gets awkward. What people are used to are the 4s. So, the oons, 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 the dance music, type 4 on the floor, or the boots and cats, those are in 4. So the most natural way of working with that sort of thing is to write in 4 or 8, multiples of that. And that's what I've done here. Once again, I do want to have the caveat of that being a stylistic choice. So it's possible to go against that, but I'm of the opinion that if you want to make a strong statement, you have to do it well, and strong statements are inherently riskier. So I'm not saying don't make them, obviously I'm not, because I'm here, trying to make a statement with, the children's toy. That's a strong statement. Well, I don't know. Fairly, it's all relative, right? I'm just saying there is always another way, breaking the rules, but, you're responsible for your own output. So if breaking the rules leads you to do something crappy, then that's on you. So anyway, enough of the lecture, right? Thanks, Pops. So when I talk about phrasing, a phrase it's like a sentence. So it's dividing up the length of the ideas that you have. So let's play this again and pay attention to the phrasing. Yeah, let's just listen. Okay, see, what I wanted you to pay attention to was when were things going to repeat again, because that's what a phrase is. So you're subconsciously doing that when you talk with people. The sentence ends and then you start another thought. So this works in music too. Music requires this as well. And if it's one of the things that you pay attention to and makes your music better. I don't even want to say that. I want to say it's like it's necessary. So either you're paying attention to it and you're crafting it, or you're some kind of natural freak that just does that automatically, or you kind of got lucky this time and you took in a lot of music and figured out that was important, right? So once again, my phrase is in 4 bars of 4. So if you listen, you'll notice that the bass line, it repeats every 4 here. So you can see 9, 8, 9, 8. And 9 and 8 are, like I put them in, I separated them to once again remind myself that they are variations. And so this phrasing is, here's how it works. Once I write a phrase that's 4 bars, and then, I can clone all this. This is what I did last time. I guess I'm explaining it more at length. So I have 4 of these, and then it's just saying the same thing 4 times. That's okay, right? Sometimes simplicity is good. But one of the things to explore is, to break that up, right? And so you break it up with a different variation here. And it looks like pattern 8, or pattern 9 has an extra note over here. And what that does is lead into pattern 8. So actually, let's see. So the phrasing is in 4. You look at pattern 3, which is the high-pitched annoying circuit bend sound. And it occurs every 4. So the phrasing of this is in 4, right? Do 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 down 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 down, and then you have the space. But it still happens every 4. So the phrasing there is 4. But you look at here, the bass pattern, and like I said, this little note, basically it's a connector, and it connects these two. So see that? And now this is a phrasing in 8. So these sort of things are what subconsciously make music pleasant and intriguing and stuck in your head, and how you get addicted to them. So the thing is, you have less to work with in music than you do if you were making like the Watchmen movie, right? You can distract them with pretty pictures, but when you're making music, it's a little sneakier, right? And so if the music isn't doing much, it's just going to fade away into the background. But if they're interesting phrasings and rhythms, so there's a 4 here and an 8 here, right? And that actually has people subconsciously counting and doing math in their head, whether they realize it or not. And different people have different abilities to pick that up and enjoy it. But these are the things that make music addictive. So what I'm going to try to do is do more of that, right? I'm going to break things up and with different variations. And I should leave no stone unturned, ideally. Sometimes, once again, another, I guess, caveat against that is sometimes you've just done enough. And the idea is it's ready. Sometimes you just know. I don't know how to explain that, but sometimes you're just done with it. So let's see. I think this is like an 8-bar pattern because this basically just repeats here. Yeah. So now I have 32. I'm thinking about adding another sound. The danger here is, it can get too dense. It gets really dense, and you got too much stuff going on. And sometimes you have to peel it back. But, well, I'm a pianist, so I just automatically want to add more melody. Sounds kind of weird. Well, yeah, I don't really like that sound here. I'm gonna look for a different sound. Close. Not what I was looking for, though. As insane as that sounds, let's record a pattern of that. Pattern 10. Animation and score. Right? Let's go insanity turned out. I think I'm gonna just go with this tiny piece right here, and then just duplicate that. See how it sounds. Not sure if that's happening. It seems to kind of conflict with the other style. Well, it's kind of off. I'm going to try to slice it more. This freaking mouse sucks. You have to press the mouse super hard. I could just do this. Snap the grid. And just duplicate these. There's a way to. There we go. Sounds insane. Like kind of off still. I can make this slower a little bit. Switch it up. Like patterns reads on it to me. It's hard to fit this stuff together. 200%. trying to pitch this right. This one's kind of off. Everything's like a key now. Sounds so crazy. Yeah. does I do to try to get this shit to work? I'm not sure if it's gonna work. Okay, so I kind of hate that. I don't know, man. Just trying out weird ideas. If I get stuck, I get stuck. It's life. It's fine. So, I don't know. Just kind of sounds like it's kind of like off key, you know. It's just don't think it's really working out. I just have to go back to what I had before. It's okay, you know, it's a natural part of the process. The other thing to do is just take out the drums. Probably add more percussion, that's another idea. I want to drop out the drums, but I'm trying to decide where. This is kind of the phrasing I was talking about earlier. that was too orderly. So what I want to do is drop out the drums in the middle of this phrase, so it doesn't sound as mechanical. It's kind of more off the cuff, you know. It would be more playful that way. And then when I want it to come back in, I want it to come back in once again in the second part of the phrase. Let's see how that sounds. I feel better if it was longer. So I feel like a lot of the work that I'm going to have to do is going to be with the phrasing of the drums. So right now, let's see. So let's move this down. So right now the drone's up top. What I was just doing was taking elements away to highlight other ones. Like it sounded like I was just throwing shit against the wall to see if anything would stick, and that is one way of looking at it. But there is a method to the madness, and the method is, first I tried to add a couple things to see what the full density of this track would be, just see if I had any interesting ideas just off the cuff. And that doesn't always work out. Sometimes you end up overstuffing the track, and it's just annoying to listen to. So I feel like that's what happened. And the other thing that can happen is, it can fracture the idea into two and start a new idea, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But I don't know how much better adding more to this would be, and I don't have any great ideas right now either. So I think right now I've worked on the phrasing of a couple elements. Like I mentioned, there's a one note variation in the bass, and I think there's a little variation in the phrasing here also. See where I'm pointing with the pencil. There's one note that's different than the rest. So there's one note that's different from the rest. Now what I need to do is do that with the drums. So you can see the drums aren't doing anything. There's a double kick over here. That's what pattern 2 is. It's an extra kick that leads in and makes the phrasing every 4. Now, sometimes that's okay, that's all you really need. But, so there are 3 sounds. Most of the time, you're going to want to flesh out the drums, and they should actually be the most active, moving around, and having the most variations. And I remember a good friend of mine that I used to make music with, Synthetic Fred. He would tell me, the thing I hate about, or hate, maybe he said hate, I don't remember. The thing I don't like about your tracks is how the drums never do anything. And I took that to heart, because we would make music together and critique each other's music, in an effort to get better. And I really took that to heart, because I'm a melody guy. Well, he's a drum guy, so that's the glaring defect that he noticed. And I think I have the tendency to kind of lean on melody and harmony, just being a pianist. And so I want to have some variations here. And what I can do is, see, this drum pattern is 3 different tracks. And so what you can do is, right click here, split by channel. Okay. And now pull these down. Oh, there's clap there. There is no clap, is there? That's weird. Shit. So what this is I'm breaking down that pattern to its individual parts. Whoops. And that way, I can take away stuff and better form the phrase. Okay. And so I need to move this down so I have room to fit all the tracks. That's what I'm doing right now. Okay, good. So there's 4 tracks there. Like, that's weird because I didn't think there was a clap in there. Snare, kick, clap, hat. What if I... This sounds so insane. I'm just breaking these apart. So now here's the other thing. I could split pattern 5, but then I feel like I'd end up with too many patterns. Pattern 5. The only difference is that kick. Compare these patterns. Okay. So hat's the same, snare's the same. This kick has an extra kick. So what I could do is duplicate everything and then have this thing. I like having the kick up top. That makes more sense to me. Maybe I'll fix it. Yeah, I think I will fix it. I'm just kind of arranging my patterns to something that makes sense. And I just like having the kick up top and then the snare. It just makes more sense to me. That's all I'm doing. I'll stay organized. So from top down, you can see I have kick, snare, flap, hat. And that makes sense to me because it's in order of, from bass, to high. The kick's going to establish the beat, the snare's going to divide it, and then, the hat's going to divide it even more. And I forgot the clap. The clap's going to accentuate it. So now, because these 3 are the same in pattern 4 and 5, hell was that, man? That's bullshit. That's bullshit. It should be snapped to line, so I don't know why it's doing that. Well, anyway. That's good. Yeah, I hate that. Why is it doing that? Well, file just snap to event. See, that's kind of annoying. It moves it slightly out of the way so you can access it, but now it's off kilter. And so I do snap to events. Oops, I just cloned it by accident. Do snap to events to get it to be in the right timing because it keeps on shifting them over. Okay. And now I don't need to split this pattern anymore. Just keep it here. Pattern 5. That's my variation. You know, I could, let's see, move all this down one. Yeah. Okay, and then let's take this pattern 5. I'm just moving it up here. All I'm doing is organizing. I'm not even making music anymore. Oh, Miss Paul, I wish she was here so I could talk shit about what I'm doing. I have to talk shit to myself now. Okay. Good. I don't do too much here. We'll save that. This is what I was talking about. I'm building up a huge monolith, same thing. I'm just carving little pieces out, you know? I'm sculpting it into a form. And, you know, fleshing out an idea into a song is, you know, more or less a long series of this. In its simplest form. Sounds are tough. Tough to work with, man. stuff. Wait, I got an idea. Okay, so what I really want are 16th alternating, so I'll put in 8s and then alternate them. Okay, so what I need to do is clone this. First of all, move this down. That's an 8. Try a little something here. I don't know, man. so what I was doing earlier, instead of playing notes, so I want these fast patterns are hard to play, so I just entered the notes into the sequencer. It doesn't really matter what I enter, because I can go to the piano roll and edit it to my liking. The timing will be regular. As you saw what I was doing. So I just made 16ths and then transpose them, because I know what the melody is going to be like. Great, so I added one annoying sound. That's not bad. Not bad for 2 hours of work. More like 1 hour of work, 1 hour of blabbing. Oh, okay, that's cool. That sounds weird, but just wanted to put some melody into that. Second window. Documents. Let's just go to my samples and look for some other samples that I could just try out. I just want to have some fun and play some melodies. Okay, what is that? Okay. Huh. Okay, let's just see how these vocals sound. Okay, that's too long. Let's sleep with that chop. Try this one. Stop. That's not what I'm looking for. No, I don't have a short one. That's not it. I'll mess around a little bit more. What's in my personal chops? Let's try this sample. Mind, I can read your mind. That's not it. That ain't it. That ain't it. Alright. One more sample. Let's see what this is. That's so funny. I like it. Oh man, that's amazing. Alright, I want to edit this. So around here. Oh my god. My cousin acting a fool. Forgot to zoom in. At least I can zoom in. Let's zoom in here. Let me make sure I chop this right. Go up over here. That's pretty good. Oh shit. Getting more with that. What the fuck was that? I don't want to do that. Okay, I think let's drag this and then replace it here. Okay. I don't like that first part of this, so I don't want to edit this again. You can loop this. That's fine. So I'll replace that. That's what I like. think I was going to use that. I just thought it was a funny ass sample. Just looking for other samples now. Interesting ones. It's kind of like more drummy than I had hoped. Let's see. NES. feel like these aren't enough. Those aren't enough. I'm getting the idea. I could do, but let's say it. Let's get this in there. samples. What else we got here? The Didge. Let's try out the Didge. What else did we do? I don't think that's it. Reset the pack to no. I think that's anything. Let's try circuit bent glitches. Base station. It's got some different blip sounds here. Let's try them out. Those are pretty cool. Cool. Let's go for a pattern. 17. Foundation is 4. Alright. I hate it when you got multiple ideas and you put one down and you forget the other. That's just what happened to me. Let's get some down. Oh shit. It's actually not wrong. Rewind, what are you doing? I have a long ass pattern here. This is usually how I record. I do a long take. If there's anything good, then I edit it. This bit too. Let's go like it's a little off. It's a little bit slow. It's right there. Oops. Okay. No snap. I just want to move it up a tiny bit. Ever so slightly. Don't like that much. Snap the line. Let's see if we can copy that. Oh, come on! Fuck. I lost it. this back a tiny bit. I don't want to copy. Oh wait, so I need to snap none. Okay. Copy this and I'll put it here. Stop. Copy this and put it here. There we go. Jeez, that was difficult. Okay. I don't know if I really like that. I feel about these new patterns. A little rushed, so I'm going to try to move it back a tiny bit. That's I gotta fix the timing on this a little bit. A little too much, isn't it? Editing. Well, this is the drawback of playing stuff. I really want to get this timing right, but at least the idea is down. A little bit late. Tiny bit late still. better. Alright, I think we'll just leave it there. Yeah. That sounds pretty decent. It'll take a little work still to edit that. Okay, so I think I'll leave off there. Talked about a lot of stuff today, really blabbed my mouth. Maybe let's do a little bit of a recap. Let's see, I talked about phrasing and form. So, I also talked about how to flesh out an idea. So I started with my idea, and then I doubled up on it. I tried a few new ideas that didn't really work out. and then I decided to work on the phrasing with the drums. So I could repeat this piece that I've carved away. Basically, this is kind of like the period at the end of a sentence, and you know, I haven't decided on the phrasing yet, but this is one phrase, and then I've begun to flesh out a little bit. I added another sample here. Another idea that I was thinking about talking about, but I didn't really mention it because I was pretty focused, was the different ways of inputting your idea when it comes to making music. So I was doing two different things. Let's see. Over here in pattern 4, is that 4? No, that's not 4. Let's see, pattern 14. Oh, weird. I guess it's abbreviated. Okay, so 14. Now I've entered 16th notes into the sequencer, and that will automatically enter 16th notes into the piano roll. Wrong second. There we go. Oh, what's this one? Yeah. So here's my pattern. So I could just sort of lay something down on the sequencer. And now the advantage of this is that it's perfect timing because the computer is subdividing this. So these are perfect 16ths. 16ths means I divided the whole bar into 16 pieces. Now, I wanted this rhythm of the 16ths, but I wanted two different notes. So here I was able to basically just program eighths and then double up here and offset these two and put them on different notes. So I'm able to arrange. This isn't really playing, this is more like arranging. So whatever melody is in my head, I can either play with my hands or I can, program this in a way. And the advantage of this is that the timing is perfect. So if I want something like drums I'm going to want to program, And so that's why I went with programming for both pattern 14 and 16, because these were melodic percussive elements that I wanted to have the perfect rhythm on. Now, the drawback is that you see here, each note has the same velocity here. Each note sounds the same. So you save time because you don't have to play a perfect pattern. You're not dependent on your human timing. You're dependent on the computer's timing. But what you lose is your human expression. So, you save time there, but you're going to spend more time humanizing this pattern. And what you'll do is to put different accents, you'll change these note velocities. So the velocity will be higher. The velocity will be higher. It'll be greater value if you hit the note harder. So, for example, a 16th, you can accent, right? You can accent each beat. And so that first hit that I was accenting, I would program a higher note velocity. So, depending on your preference, you would either program and then humanize, or, the other way, what I did in pattern 19, is to just play the pattern, and you can see it looks pretty human. It looks pretty human. I mean, I played this, so you can tell that it, You can tell that I played it because there are different note velocities here that were captured. And that's, sometimes difficult to program because there's a very slight difference between these notes. And that's my natural expression, you know. And so you're left with either, so what I had here was some humanized expression. It's not humanized, it is human. This is human expression, but what I would like is a better rhythm. So there's so many factors due to me being a human. One of them is the natural tendency to rush. So I was rushing a little bit, and that's why I had to fix these notes. You saw me moving these notes around just ever so slightly. And I was playing the song over and over again to get these on the beat, to get these notes cleaned up. You know, I was playing a bit sloppy, and now I edit them to make them tighter. So when you end, you can compose with the sequencer by programming, and your rhythm will be perfectly tight. But then you will want to add the human expression. Now, if you play the pattern like I did, then you know you already have the human feel to it, but you want to tighten up the rhythm. Okay, so you know you're going to use a multitude of these different techniques when you're writing a song, and you see how I have certain things muted. This, you know, it's crazy. It's messy because I've been trying out all these different ideas, and you know I'll probably clean these as I. You don't always want to clean it as you go because there might be something salvageable here. I don't know. You never know. But you also saw me organizing here, right? And this is sort of the best part about using the digital audio workstation is that you can visualize the entire song. You know, if you're using some hardware, you're not see what the song looks like. It's all in your head. You're dependent on that. And that might be good because you have a greater focus. You won't get as distracted. You know, you may get distracted using the DAW because it's a computer. There's other stuff on the computer. So that's another thing that is helpful is to organize all your clips and have them by sections. So here I have, you know, the drums up top because I'm going to want to have the most variations and phrasing using the drums. And I've arranged them, you know, in an order that makes sense. So it's going to start with the kick because that establishes the rhythm, and then the snare comes in and subdivides, and then there is a clap. Clap pattern's empty. I don't know why it's. I don't know. We'll go through that later. And then the hi-hat. So I've ordered these as they get added on. Okay. So, you know, this episode maybe was a little bit drier. There's no exciting soldering, you know. It's really more about making music. And the connection with circuit bending is the circuit bend sounds are more challenging to work with. And so what I'm mostly going through are different techniques to help you incorporate, you know, different sounds and build up a strange idea where you may have writer's block. You know, when I started, I have this problem where you know, you come up with an idea and it's perfect. Everything fits snugly together. And it's hard to get out of that and write a different section to make a complete song, to expand on that. And so, you know, really this portion of Bend It Live is about the different, you know, techniques and frameworks of thinking to, help you flesh out your idea into a song. So I know this was a little bit light on the circuit bending, but this is, at least for me, what every circuit bent instrument, aspires to become is actual music. So, if you want to see more circuit bending at the moment, you can check out some of our older episodes on YouTube. Check there on Paul Giret's channel, Film for Food. And you can also check out our full-length movie. So this was a collaboration between Paul and I. We made a feature-length movie, and Paul goes around with a couple different musicians, not just me, but some other people. We all have sort of different ways of thinking and different goals with circuit bending. And it's kind of interesting to see what each of us gets out of it, because it's something different. And, if you'd like to check that out, that is being hosted graciously by Bender's TV. So I'm going to go to my phone because I have the link up here. That's benderstv.vhx.tv. And you'll see us in the list of content. We're first here. Bend it. So maybe this long form podcast is a bit too much for you. You want to listen to an hour of me rambling and then another hour of boring editing and then, whatever, like a 30-minute recap. Well, you can watch the full-length Bend It movie. Let me give you that link again. benderstv.vhx.tv. I'm Baby Ginseng. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoy this content, check out my YouTube. I will be uploading this to my YouTube channel, which is Soulcast818, Soulcast 818. And yes, it is a username from a very long time ago. If you enjoy this content, why not subscribe? I will be posting more music videos, and I'd like to get to 100 subscribers so that I can change my channel name to Baby Ginseng. So subscribe, check out Baby Ginseng YouTube. That's at Soulcast818. You can also, that will have my music videos on it, as well as a couple episodes of Bend It, the ones that I've been taking over as Paul is out. And I'll be adding more music videos. If you'd like to check out Baby Ginseng music, go to babyginseng.bandcamp.com. I have currently one very old album up with lo-fi sound. I've written the whole album on a Casio keyboard. And there are some music videos of that on my YouTube channel. Give it a listen, check it out. Check out Bend It the movie at benderstv.vhx.tv. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we'll be back with our resident technical wizard and digital artist, Paul Giret, next time. Really glad that, Jesus. Really glad for anyone checking out the podcast. This will go on, after the song's done. We're going to crack open a new toy. So stay tuned next time. I'll keep on blabbing about composing music and techniques to do so. And tune in 2 weeks from now. Every other Monday. Sometimes Tuesdays. Never Sunday. Alright. Thank you. Bye.